Money's a joke.
Yeah.
What's holding people back from making the money that they say they want is they're cheating on their wives. They're addicted to porn. They have an alcohol problem. They have some other addiction. Some people are even just sedating by being workaholics.
Yeah.
Like some people just stay at the office till the 18th hour, right? Because they don't want to face what they've created inside their four walls. They're not communicating with their kids correctly.
Yep.
They're not connected with their wife.
Yep.
And so they avoid all that. They sedate. An issue you guys are going to have, keep continuing to have guests on here, though, is that concept around like infobesity, or like, you know, you're getting so many like, you know, mic drop moments.
Yeah.
And then you process them in the moment, but then like, how do you actually, how does that practically apply to my day to day?
Absolutely.
And you got to sift out the dirt and keep the gold, because maybe in the moment it felt right. But then when you write them all out, you're like, okay, I actually like 7 of the 27 things I wrote down.
Sure,
know?
absolutely.
And then ask yourself, how can I apply these 7 in my life? Even if it's as simple as, and you guys have a voice now, you have this podcast. Yep. So even if it's as simple as repackaging up like one at a time and doing a 30-minute run on it. Like maybe you guys grab a mic drop moment from a guest and you two just dissect it for 20, 30 minutes and add value to people who also had that little moment off of maybe even this one, but no one did a deep dive and no one brought it back to the forefront of their mind.
For sure.
Right? So maybe come up with a framework. It's like, here's the sentence. We're going to break it down, and then we're going to give you some practical application on how to use this.
Absolutely. I love that. That's good.
Yeah,
it's going to force you to reprocess it.
That's good. Yeah. Or even bring those guys back too to talk about that.
Yeah.
You know, let's really narrow down that. I like that. Because we did talk about even doing part 2s and stuff with guys and stuff like that. So maybe
you're going to build a mountain of data. You're going to build a mountain of of mic drop moments.
Absolutely.
And then how can you repackage and repurpose those to where they're actually useful to your audience and to yourself? Because as you review them, you're going to be like, oh shit. You can build a whole philosophy off of some of these.
For sure.
And some you're going to be like, well, that was powerful then, but where I'm at right now, it's not as strong, or vice versa. I didn't really catch that first round, but oh shit.
Totally.
And then we could delete things like Donnie singing Lil Baby last time.
Oh my God. The last guy we had on here, he sung Little Baby for
he was singing
10 minutes.
rap songs. We had to,
hell yeah, there's something.
We'll leave little clips in there.
There's something to that, yeah. I mean,
I don't know what it had to do with his business, but shout out to you, Don.
Hey, we're talking about him right now, so he won.
There you go.
He wins.
Hopefully Ken cut that. So anyways, tell us, so you started out the program because you felt broken inside. Was it kind of a way to build yourself up? Is this you know how like for example, addiction, so like sponsors that sponsor addicts and bring them up through addiction or whatever, they do that for their sobriety.
100%.
Is this something you do for like your soul?
I say this to members all the time. It's an excellent question, excellent point. Is like this whole program is for me. Make no mistake.
Yeah.
And if that hurts your feelings, I'm sorry, because what this is doing, like a lot of things that come out of your mouth are projections. And so when I create a new framework or I walk somebody through something, it's probably because I'm fucking struggling with that shit too to some degree.
Absolutely.
And like so let's go back to like 12-step programs. Yeah. So AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, has been around since 1920. One of the most successful 12-step programs out there. Yeah. And you know what the 12th step is?
Help another person.
It's to sponsor another alcoholic, because there's the actual what they call recidivism rate for alcoholics that get through step 1 through 11 is 93%.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go through AA and you do 1 through 11 and you think you're fucking crushing, and then you do not sponsor another alcoholic, i.e., mentor them, walk them through this, hold them accountable, like you will drink again. 93%.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so powerful to help another person. And that's why we only work with and attract and try to build givers. One of my favorite books of all time is Bob Berg, Go Giver.
I'm reading that right now.
It should be in your top 5. Because it's about giving and giving and giving. And what happens is, and it is borderline selfish. Like when I help another dude either make a bunch of money or save or strengthen his marriage or connect with his kids, like you said, you can't, that feeling that I get, like I get videos from wives crying because they don't recognize their husband anymore. And they're thanking me, right? Or I get, or straight from the dudes. Like, so all that to say, that's oxytocin. That's a completely different chemical than dopamine.
Yeah.
It is, and it's stronger. And that's where Oxycontin, that's where Oxy's derived from. It's people are chasing that dragon. So what if I told you could be addicted to Oxycontin, but instead of taking a pill, you could fucking help someone's life? That's what coaching does. That's what this program is selfish in the fact that it allows me to get a hit of fucking oxy every time one of my clients experiences a major win.
That's awesome.
And that's why AA is so successful, because when you step into the place of helping another, your level of accountability goes through the roof.
Yeah.
I'm forced to constantly stay in the gym, date my wife, connect with my kids, crush business.
Well,
I'm preaching it.
Yeah.
I'm leading from the front, baby. Like, I have to shine day in, day out. And I have to be consistent as fuck, or I can't hold you guys to any level of standard.
Yeah, it's your
absolutely.
brand.
And so, to hammer that home, like, it's what better way to be selfish than to be selfless.
Absolutely. Love it.
And yeah, it's crazy how it works.
So what would you say to somebody that's like, you go back and somebody says that you can't help somebody else if you can't help yourself? So how are you? How are you? So that's the first thing you're doing, though.
You have
helping that person find themselves, fix themselves, so that they can help others. Because that's definitely always something I've seen too. Is even in the past where I'm broken down, I'm going through something myself, but I'll just kind of put it into other people. I'll get out of it, but then I still go home and I'm still that person.
And you're still
and I'm still broken, having issues, whatever it is.
Yeah. So there's two ways to approach it, and like I think you hit it on the head. So who knows? You guys have all been on an airplane, right?
Yes.
And they do that speech at the beginning, and they say, "Hey, when the mask drops,
you put yours on first."
Yeah. Dude, they used to trigger the fuck out of me. I'm like, hell no, I'm a fucking hero. Especially if I'm traveling with my kids. I'm like, nah, I'm putting masks on everybody. I'll hold my breath. I'm saving 20 people.
Yeah.
And if I die, that's noble. And it took me forever to wrap my head around, like, self-work, like working on yourself is not selfish.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
Because the best version of me, so if I put my mask on first, let's say I don't put my mask on, I save 17 people before I collapse. But I put it on, right?
25.
And I save 25, 30. And that's the difference.
Can't help
and I
more people
truly
if you're
help
dead.
them. Exactly. So until you fill your cup, you can't possibly pour into others.
Yeah. That's something, because like I've learned that and going through, like, I've been AA and stuff for family members and Al-Anon and all that. And you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
And that's something I've always resonated with and always felt. But you do become, a normal person and fall trap to it too.
Oh, 100%. It feels selfish sometimes to do, like, when we wake up and we do like a 2 or 3 hour routine every morning. Like, all my guys do the same routine. And that's to, like, get it out of the way, your time, so then you can go take on the world, but more importantly, add value to people.
Yeah. But because you can get addicted to that, though. You can get addicted to helping people and still forget yourself. So that's definitely something strong.
There's a balance.
To really find.
I don't feel like you have to be a perfect person, though. So, like, there's a fine line. Like, you don't have to be a perfect person to reach out and help somebody else. So I don't want to make it get confused. Like, you don't have to, be Jesus Christ to help people. You just have to be in a good place.
I share my flaws more than I like.
Yeah.
You need to be sharing your L's with your people. I've had people say, you guys have seen me jump on calls where I share a pain point that I'm dealing with, or I share, like, a fight with my wife. Like, if you can't be authentic and, like, you're not relatable.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you stand on a stage from an ivory tower and you just preach, like, I'm fucking jacked, bro. I got it all figured out. I've got 9 figures and I drive these cars. Follow me. Like, that's leading from strictly front. Like, I want to stand next to you.
It's a facade.
And if I'm going through something and dude, my members have helped walk me through shit.
Yeah.
And some people be like, what? These guys pay you like $40K a year to hang out with you. How on earth are they helping you solve problems? Why would you go to them and be vulnerable with an issue that, you see what I'm saying? But it's like, until you can, like, share L's with your people too, like, we're not fucking perfect. I actually call it the 1-step rule, which is like, I've got guys that don't want to get into coaching full blown until they check all these boxes, because they feel like, I don't have authority unless I've built big shit. I don't have authority unless, like, I'm crushing it on all these levels.
Yeah.
What you have is 1 step ahead of the person that you're giving value to that they don't have. And so all you need to do is have 1 step. And so you could just be a little bit further ahead. And then that's the avatar that you speak to. You speak to somebody that's just trying to catch up. You get them caught up. And then either you're 1 step ahead again, and on we go. But you don't have to, like, you don't have to build this fucking checklist of awesome before you go out there and add value. You know what I mean?
No, that's true.
And during that process, you probably grow as well.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So it's a win-win for everybody. You're coaching them up, and you're actually learning shit because you're out there trying to give them the best information possible.
The guys that don't want to, like, they want to fucking just sit on stage and just speak awesome. And that's the problem with social media. Like, who's on social sharing L's?
Yeah. That's actually, it's kind of funny, because what brought this podcast on is we were talking about that, and next minute Chris jumped on it, talked to Ken, but that was what we wanted to talk about. Let's talk about the real shit. Let's get away from social media, especially in this town.
Yep.
Yeah.
All you see is everybody's, so happy, glorified, everything's great. well, fuck that. That's not real life.
Yeah.
It might be nice going downtown and living that life for 5 minutes, but that's not real life. And especially moving here, I was like, okay, good. We're in this nice little town, cute, all, but still got issues, still got problems, building more problems. It's like, and I just want to figure this out. So, and then I think that is everybody, especially this new entrepreneur kick that I've seen everybody come on to. Well, there's a lot behind that. There's a lot of that struggle behind that. So we really need to just stick by each other with that and get it out there. It's okay if you lost or if you fucked something up, if you broke something, damaged some rims. I
heard about
that. I actually want to have him back on here just to address it, but we'll see. Yeah. But it's like, because that's the reality of it. I feel like if we don't address that, then what are we really doing in this podcast? So it's like, we're just another fucking podcast talking about how great business is.
Yeah. The best thing you guys could do for everybody is expose pain points.
For sure.
And get people on here that are willing to talk about their L's.
And not their
so you can turn them into lessons.
How did you turn it around? I mean, that is the biggest thing. It's like, well, if you really struggled with something, how did you turn it around? What did you do? Whether it's a messed up client, whatever it is, anything that you've done in your life, how did you turn it around?
Yep. That's somebody listening is struggling with that exact pain point.
Absolutely.
And it gives them permission. Maybe it gives them a roadmap, but ultimately it's like, okay, other people are
I'm not alone.
Are struggling with this, and they're getting through it.
Yeah. And this is the loneliest lifestyle. Being an entrepreneur is the toughest thing, because you got your friends or employees, and then those friends quit, and then you have no friends anymore. So it's like, what do you have? You have entrepreneurs. Well, we don't have time for friends. So how do you live? That's what I've learned. That's what I'd really like to start picking up, because I'm tired of the perfect lifestyle that everybody's trying to put out there in social media and shit.
I put a post out recently in our workplace, which is like our closed loop Facebook ecosystem, and essentially it was about, like, I say I haven't told a lie in 4.5 years. Like, I haven't intentionally lied, but I've slipped up here and there. And my wife, I can't remember exactly what it was around, but essentially I told like a white lie. Like, so even white lies, for the record. Like, if your wife spins around in a dress and she's like, hey, do I look fat? And you're like, nah, baby, you look great, right? And obviously you don't have to go as far as to be like, you look fat, but realistically, you need to just speak whatever's actually in your head, because that fear of colliding with your wife on a topic is a lie.
Yeah.
And it's because you're scared
to
have that conversation.
That little lie becomes bigger.
Yeah. And so I don't remember what it was, but it was very minor, but it was enough that it was like weighing on me. And so I just dropped a quick little video about, not only did I lie, but it also took me longer than 2 hours to what we call course correct, because I was trying to process. I was almost trying to justify what I did. And I caught myself spending more energy trying to justify the lie than actually just going all in on telling her exactly how I'm feeling right now, why I did what I did. I apologize for it, and I think that's what they want more than anything. Like, you're gonna fuck up. We're all gonna fuck. We're gonna fuck up today. So, you know what I mean? And like, it's your ability to recognize it. So just being hyper aware of like when you mess up, and then what are you doing now to correct that? Like course correction. And if you can close the gap from fuck up to course correction, you're winning.
Yeah,
because you're not gonna not fuck up.
Absolutely, completely agree. Cool. So you were saying that you were struggling looking at the man in the mirror when you were, banging Instagram models.
Yep.
How do you feel when you look at yourself in the mirror now? Do you feel like you've came a long way? Are you proud of who you are? Or what does the inner Nick look like?
Yeah. So this one's tough, because I think most of us are scared to hype ourselves. Like, I don't
hype yourself up, man.
I don't receive well. Like, I think a lot of people that are go-givers, they don't take compliments well, or they don't take. So I'm definitely still working on that. Yeah. It is like, dude, I've never once. I remember when I was launching a podcast and I didn't do it because I have like 100 and some episodes recorded. All that to say, the guy was like, well, the first thing you need to drop is always your origin story. And I'm like, I'm not talking about me.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Like, I come from a school of thought of like, you should never talk about yourself. Someone else should tell your story.
Yeah.
You dig? And so like, it took me forever to start telling my story on stage. And even then I try to just weave lessons in and out of it. I never just want to talk about me. So I'm still obviously avoiding the question. I'm still very, very critical of myself.
Yeah.
It's one of those like, what's next? I think is probably the question I ask myself the most.
Yeah. Where do you feel like you're lacking the most?
Ooh, that's a good one. I definitely have this constant narrative that, I built 2 8-figure things and walked away from them.
Yep.
And so I struggle with the decision, should I be building another monster alongside of the coaching game?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people in the coaching space will tell you that like this is not where the money's at.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Yeah.
Like, I think I made less money last year than I've ever made.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it because, again, I can't replace like the messages you send me, or there's no way I'm stopping this.
Yeah.
And this is, and I've heard the voice, like I've been called, like I know this is what I was put on this earth to do, officially. I'm 4 years in, I will not stop. But sometimes I struggle with like, I'm helping all these, so I've helped a lot of guys create a lot of money, but I've made less money than ever. And so it's like, maybe it's a story around authority. Maybe I'm like, should I build another monster alongside of coaching just to prove a fucking point?
Yeah.
And then I have to ask myself, is that my ego?
Yeah.
Like, I don't need any more authority. People are obviously paying attention enough that I'm changing lives. But do I want to do I want to cast a wide net and go ape shit and be like the next Milet or Frisella or whatever? Or do I just want to stay here in my niche and just continue to like have direct impact on 7 guys from Greenville?
Yeah.
7 guys from Atlanta. I think we've got 7 or 8 in like a small pocket in Arizona, Scottsdale area.
Yeah.
So like, and so I wrestle with. It's got to be ego. I think if there's an area I need to grow in, it's. I don't feel I speak from a place of ego, like I'm awesome. But I definitely still wrestle with. Again, this probably goes back to my original addiction, affirmation.
Yeah.
Like, do I need someone to affirm me again for being the creator of massive business, building a monster?
Yep.
And so my wife was always like, the only way I will allow that, and she's right, she holds a lot of cards there because she's seen me like go through these cycles, is if it's in complete alignment with what we're doing now.
Yeah. Makes total sense.
Because anyone here, we're hustlers by nature. We could probably go spin off, like I could go spin off anything that make me 40, 50 grand a month.
Yeah.
Like passive.
Yeah, I think me and him, I got out of this meeting and I threw him like 2 business ideas.
Yeah,
and then,
by the time we walk to the car, we're going to be like, hey.
Yeah. I got to stop. Let me focus.
That's like shiny object syndrome.
For sure.
Or FOMO. You're in a group, like we go to these things and all these guys are crushing it. And you're like, oh, fuck, I could do that.
Yeah.
Those are the margins. Like, I'm all in,
Yeah,
and so I think I'm struggling a bit with like the need to build something big, and then I'm asking myself, is it to build more authority in the space, or is it your fucking ego, bro?
Yeah.
So I would say that's some area that I'm like personally wrestling with. And when I look in the mirror, so I think one of the things I'm most proud of, and I try to get my guys here, I ask them this question right now: if your wife was to go through your phone, first of all, does your wife have your password? Like I make most of my
Mine
guys.
does, yeah.
If you're struggling with your marriage, the first thing I make you do is download an app called Life 360.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I've got that.
We've got kids that drive, so that's how we like stumbled across it. But realistically, your wife should know where you're at all the time. She should have access to every single. My wife runs my Instagram. Like I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like if some girl, like I'm public, so I've had girls come on my Instagram and just like kind of overly like some of my content. They don't really. And they don't go straight in for the jugular because they, I've got my wife all over my IG, right? But they will kind of like pay a little too much attention.
Yeah.
And my wife has permission with tact, so I don't destroy my brand. Like don't go after them like we're in fucking 7th grade, or whatever.
Fucking bitch.
Yeah.
My girlfriend will do that.
But she has carte blanche to like either she can handle it.
Yeah.
As me to an extent, or she could tell me how she would like it handled.
For sure.
Because just out of respect. All that to say,
that's powerful.
The question I would ask any dude listening to this right now: if you set your phone down, can you? And your wife went through your messages, how do you talk about her?
Yeah.
How do you hold yourself? Like, would she be proud of you? Or would she fucking like despise you more because you're actually like living this other life? And I'm not even saying cheating, but maybe you just act differently in front of your dudes, or you say dumb shit, or
posting different pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something.
And so it's like if she went through your phone right now, well, how would she feel about you? And until you get to the point where like you're almost like, hey, can you check something on my phone or check the weather? And what you really want her to see is go through and see that you're just like you're on cloud 9 every time you talk about her or your kids, or you're just helping dudes, and you've got like, dude, I've got crying conversations back and forth with several men. You know that. So like, I think what the only way I've been able to like associate pride in myself is like how others, especially close to me. So if my wife is proud of me, I'm proud of me.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
And
I love it.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I definitely, because that's something when I first started dating my girlfriend that she had to overcome, the amount of people or women that I talk to on a daily basis.
Were you a pimp?
No, I mean, no, just, just where we met was rough. But, and then even with business, in construction, mostly I deal with women all the time. So, like, for her to go through my phone, she's like, who the hell is this? But go ahead and read them all.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing there. You want to go through my phone now? Well, you're going to see a lot of stuff talking about possible engagements coming up.
Nice.
What type of rings I'm getting,
Yeah, nice.
So I look forward to that. And that's pretty cool that you said that because I have been there in those days where I've left my iPad home and gotten the call.
Been like, oh,
who's
shit.
Angela? Oh, well, I'll be right there. Come back real quick.
This is best done in person, so I'm U-turning as we speak.
Oh yeah, man, I was 40 minutes.
Bro,
away
I've
from
had
the house that day.
burners. I used to have prepaid phones, and I would put like the battery under my seat and then chuck the phone in the garage when I got home. And, like, dude, my
What's
wife
the Walmart one? It's Smart Talk or something.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
Any sort of prepaid anything, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that's crazy is, you think they don't know, but they know everything.
They know,
yeah.
They know.
You can sense it.
Dude,
It's
the
a
energy.
vibe.
If I
Yeah.
walk in the house, you can tell if
Yeah.
I just had sex with some
Yeah.
other girl. My wife's like, all right, this guy's a shithead.
Yeah, well, it's good, and I think that also speaks true to like the manhood part of things. If you're being honest with it, if you're in a relationship and you shouldn't be, you got to get out of it. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, don't waste anybody's time.
Yeah.
If you're doing that, you got to make a adjustment for yourself because you're not happy. I've
Absolutely.
learned that. I've been there now with my relationship I'm currently in for 5 years now. Never even had a thought of it. So it's like there is that person that will
100%.
make you feel the right way.
100%.
Absolutely. So what's next for the program, man?
I think we're going to go bananas in 2023.
I think so too.
Yeah. You've seen some of the opportunities on the horizon, but
Yeah.
what's been crazy is like I'm a control freak. I think a lot of us are, especially like male entrepreneurs. We want to control every aspect of the business. We want to wear every hat. We don't want to delegate. And I think one of the differences that I was conscious about that I made, especially in the last 4 years, but more so in the last like 4 months, has been just like letting go and letting things happen. And the amount of opportunity that has come into my world in the last 4 weeks, like you were there for like the Garrett White experience, and then I went to his house later, and then I was on a yacht with a bunch of like who's who in the influencer coaching space, and then another gentleman, Eddie Wilson, who's believes in me, and we're teaming up on something. So all that to say, the opportunity is abundant.
For sure.
I think one thing I'm still wrestling with is, do I want to cast that wide net? And I don't know. Maybe it's I fear brand dilution. Like I don't want to dilute the brand by.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the guy on stage with 2,000 people in the crowd that I can't help.
Yeah.
But at the same time, so what's being mapped out right now is like a standard ascension model. Like, and so instead of just you can't get to Nick with those 40 unless you have 40 grand. It's going to be like you can come through at like a $300 a month ticket, $1,000 a month ticket, and it'll be very much like maybe group style and facilitated by my coaches. And then you'll have like some access to me.
Yeah.
If there's a way to service the masses, but not, so you can't automate intimacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I start just building funnels and building courses and stuff, like, unless I know I can get to all of those people somehow, and logistically it's like probably not possible.
Yeah.
I don't know how big I want to build that. And so to answer your question, we have an opportunity to basically like experience exponential growth with the two things that have been presented to me in the last 4 weeks. And I just need to decide what that looks like, because again, if I have 1,000 guys in this particular container, and there's a chance that they can ascend to hang out with me like we hang out, and you're at the ultimate level, you're at the what we call the profit table. So you're at the like, I get Nick whenever I want. I drove 6 hours to hang out with you and be on a podcast.
Yep.
So ultimately I want everybody there, because that's when we can really do work.
Absolutely.
So we are buying land, so that's a big one. We're going to start running a lot more events. We're picking up that parcel in Nashville, and we're going to build an actual like the program ranch. I don't know what we're going to call it yet, but I think that's actually what you said outside of the curb. So I'm still trying to figure out names, but that will allow us to run more events, like more frequently, and kind of build like a permanent stable where we can really do the deep work. So that's coming really soon, actually. The offer's in. So yeah, I think just. I don't know. We've yet to do paid marketing, so I think that's
fucking awesome.
That's like part of me brags about that because we're crushing it without paid.
Yeah.
But then obviously I know you got to play the game.
At some point, you scale to a certain size where you have to.
Yeah. So we're gonna. I think that's coming. It's just like I said. I need to know in my heart that if I'm on a stage speaking to 1,000 dudes that are interested in
You're
joining or whatever, that I can like everyone communicates, very few connect.
Yeah.
That's a John Maxwell book actually. I think it's a line, but I think he made a book out of it. And so, like, I'm just obsessed with, like, deep connection with everybody in my container.
Absolutely.
And I don't know what that looks like at 2,000-3,000 people.
Yeah, I feel like you might lose it. Yeah, that's tough. Because look at the guys like Grant Cardone or something.
Well, it's just an integrity
thing.
thing.
Selling bullshit. And
Yeah.
I don't want to be a part of that. But then, you see guys like Tom Ferry or somebody who have learned to kind of still stick to the
I think there's a way to navigate it. Yeah. I think there is. Like I said, as long as I know I can, like, I don't know, I can hire more facilitators or coaches and train the hell out. Like, we have a really crazy training. So I have a lot of guys in the program currently that are kind of like, so how many of you guys, and this is guys listening will probably know this, you got into whatever you're into right now because either the money was good or somebody in your area was doing it and you had the opportunity to just like kind of cut and paste or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of guys are making money, which is cool, but they're not really doing what they love. And so we've had several like solopreneurs come through the program, and through the process of their reprogramming, they find their calling. They find their actual purpose.
That's what TJ said.
Yeah.
TJ had a lot to say about you. He said, what his big thing was, as soon as he got done with the one outing, he pretty much burned all of his other bridges to the ground and started Barndo and went
all in.
Full on.
Yeah.
And now he's been nothing but happy.
So he drove home from my event like a week after Christmas or something like that, and we had our very first like one-on-one. And I pulled out like my 6-foot whiteboard, and we were on Zoom, and we wrote down everything he's doing. And I was like, bro, like, trust me, I've been there. So there's a line by Warren Buffett, an average millionaire has 7 sources of income.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So when I was young and I read that, I was like, hell yeah. So I went and opened up 7 LLCs.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to fuck you. So I was a professional plate spinner. It's like, so I was in the cannabis space. I had a clothing line. I had my law firm. I had debt collection. I had you name it. Like I was just like, I thought I was awesome, and it was cool to have like all these business cards. Or eventually, I built like this thing called Octus Venture Capital. So I didn't even have money to be a venture capitalist, but I wanted a company to house them all. Like it was all pure ego.
Yeah.
And then what happens is like you're still the guy for all of those, because I wasn't a good leader yet. I wasn't actually putting people in the right seats to manage those. So like I'm one plate is like about to fall, and I run over there and I spin it, and then another one and I go spin it, and then eventually they all fucking crash.
Yeah.
And so that was TJ essentially, and it was a very powerful conversation because I knew it was going to hurt what I told him to do, and it fucking hurt. We call it like the slingshot. Like I had to pull him back, and he had to take a lot of like, so burn that one down. Fuck flat fee realty. Fuck whatever roofing he was doing.
Yeah.
Fuck this other side gig. Like trust me. Double down on Barndo, get rid of everything else. And they didn't even, I don't think they formed the LLC until March, right?
Yeah.
March is when they formed it.
Yeah, so we talked a week after Christmas. It took them a while to like commit to burning everything else down. And then obviously the rest is history.
Oh my gosh.
Now I see why
Yeah.
Justin texted me at 2:00 in the morning.
Who?
Justin.
Rogers?
Yeah, he's like, what's your business plan? Because like he knows that I'm trying to get out of one thing, stick with one thing, focus on something. He's been pushing that to me. So I'm assuming y'all all met last night, and then he's probably like, you need to focus, bro. And I'm like, oh, 2:00 in the morning. I know I need to focus.
Was he the big ass dude?
Yeah.
The guy that was bigger than me at the table?
Yeah, Justin.
Yeah, that's a big dude.
He is a big
He's
dude.
a good dude.
But he's got a big heart, though.
He does.
He does.
It's tough when I think there was like 12 people at the dinner last night, but then like when we were walking out to the car, I had a lot of sidebar conversations. That's when you can really connect. You know?
Yeah.
And he's got a massive heart.
He does.
He
He's
does.
a really good dude.
Yeah.
He's one of the few guys I've connected with in town that like new to the area. Same thing with Chris.
It's hard to find, man.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, keep building that and stick with it. Like you guys need to just take over Greenville with that collective.
Yeah, a group of people.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of shitheads out there.
Absolutely.
I know you know it. Yeah.
Well, I've seen it, man. Just in all areas, whatever it is. But,
Sure.
I've definitely seen it, especially with this entrepreneurs. Like everybody is really.
It's cool to be an entrepreneur. I call
it's
entrepreneurs the new
popular
black,
now.
or entrepreneurs the new orange, which is the new black, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's a fucking joke, bro.
I've gotten even just from the start of the podcast, we've gotten a lot of people that are like, yeah, you've been doing it for 6 months or whatever. Like you don't know what it is, and even I, like I've been doing it for 10 years. I've been my own boss, so I've kind of lot longer experience than most of these guys I'm dealing with today. Where I'm like, you've been in it for 2 years, 3 years, you don't even know yet.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of stuff that's about to happen.
Yep.
I've seen it all twice. Like,
yeah. The pain,
Twice.
the struggle is real.
yeah.
Fuck yeah.
But it's important that you guys get the Greenville guys together and keep doing like those dinners and stuff, because like that dinner turned into like something really powerful.
It was special.
It was a bunch
Yeah,
of
it was a good
dudes.
dinner.
Like it's funny because usually, for your first 20, 30, 50 minutes you get dudes in the room, everyone's flexing and peacocking and like talking about their bullshit.
No, you were the
numbers and-
good group of guys
Yeah.
last night. Yeah,
and that wasn't happening. And then by the end of it, we were sharing some like crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Like we didn't really talk about money at the end. It was literally just like
I wasn't invited.
yeah.
I did invite you.
No, you didn't. No, I had a wedding. I just got back in town.
That's what I
night.
was. You
Yeah,
were telling you.
I talked to you about it the other week. That's what I kind of thought the excuse was.
Yeah.
But next time I'll be invited or fuck off.
Hey,
Well, let me ask you a question before
Yep.
we cut this loose.
Yep.
Because this is something I struggle with. Just had a baby, want to be part of the program, or at least want to experience it. Kind of new to the area, so don't have many people to help. Got my girlfriend. How are you influencing men to make that step with their wife? What are they going to say, hey, look, I'm going to go away for a week. It is what it is. I know
just
you're going to be
fucking
angry
do
with
it.
me. Well, let's say, I mean, that's something that I've definitely had because, like, oh, man, I'll be ripped to shreds if I leave for a week on vacation. Like,
is this you coming to Cancun?
Well, that's what I was saying.
You can bring her to this one.
I
This is the
brought
first
that
time.
up.
This is the first time we've ever allowed that. So it's obviously a men's movement, but I will tell you, most of the men have had a conversation with my wife because, like, she's usually right next to me on everything. She's like my ride or die. Like we do everything together. All that to say, we've had wives that have called her to make sure that it's really like a bunch of dudes in the woods fucking each other up because we've had guys that are cheaters, right? And so, like, I've had wives call my wife and be like, "Yo, is like,"
And that's why I asked.
I want to make sure. So we have like ways to like combat that proactively if she wants to have a conversation. But realistically, this comes down to if you are extremely clear and you are speaking from a place of conviction, like, this is what I want. I don't know why, but for some reason I need to go do this. First of all, it's only 3 days, not a week. So
I'm
trying to help you out.
Well,
here.
listen, for a day, I'm like, I mentioned Cancun when Chris asked me, and I was like,
and maybe that
great.
is kind of scary because they're probably thinking you're gonna like beach and margarita.
No, she's just like, fuck you, I want to go to Cancun.
She can come, but she can. So
Cancun.
the reason this is a special one, this is the first time we've done this, it's essentially our members retreat. So it's our annual members retreat. So the 2 of the days are extremely like celebratory. We're doing awards. We've got wives. I want the wives to see what the hell that your husband's been up to for a year. And so what we did is we decided to front load it with a 1-day immersion. So like the event he went to was 2.5 days of like fucking him up, like seriously. And so we basically said, all right, we're gonna do this 1-day event. We're only going to do like maybe 10 dudes max, right? And we're going to then allow them after that. And here's the thing: we don't pitch. I don't want to sound like an ass, but I could give a fuck if you join, because what you're going to see, the things that are going to happen in that 3 days, especially the 1 day, you already won. Most people don't follow through when they get home. That's human nature. We could talk about that, but realistically, I will give you enough value in that 1 day. And oh, by the way, it's a net zero cost. We're charging $1,000, but it cost me $964 to house you and feed you and give you drinks. So it's a G to come. But then you get $1,000 worth. It's 4 days, all you can eat, drink, and hotel paid. So all that to say, like, if you are just very clear that you want to fucking go, or she wants to have a conversation with me, if that helps, like, it's just one of those things where it's almost a trust me. When I get back, you'll understand this. But I get it. I know it's tough to.
Yeah,
to
well, I
have
just
that
thought I'd
conversation
ask
there.
if you know, for the men out there. I know for my example, just mentioning it, I definitely couldn't do December. That was like she was nine months pregnant, so I would have been killed. But even now, it's like been difficult. But at the same time, well, I've noticed that like I have to do what I have to do for me sometimes, because if not, I can't supply.
Yeah,
it'll be one of those things
y'all.
where you might have to beg for forgiveness when you get home, but
well.
a week later or a month later, when she sees this new version of you, she's going to be like,
when you show up in
I
life
get it.
different.
I get it.
Yeah. I think that's what matters.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what TJ had mentioned. His whole life has changed since he's done this.
And if you just like open up and be vulnerable towards, I don't know, like how vulnerable y'all are towards each other.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
Like,
What
if
if
you
you
say,
say? What if you say this
like
isn't
I'm
about
struggling
money?
as a man right
Yeah,
now?
this is
like,
about.
No,
this
she
is
knows
about-
everything about me, and that's where I think she would be more lenient towards it. And I'm not asking just for me. I'm just asking in general.
Yeah, in
just
general.
But I'm putting it out there because that is something that obviously
It's tough.
is something that you have to work with. Because like I struggle with it just in trying to go to damn networking meetings.
And it's not even just sometimes the spouse. It's like most guys. Another excuse I get a lot is like, I don't want to leave my business for 3 days.
Yeah.
And that one's always laughable to me, because it's like then just process that, please, because that's exactly why you need to be here. Like, if you can't leave your company for 2.5 days,
yeah, then you shouldn't.
if it burns to the ground in 2.5 days, like, you definitely need to come and see what we're building, because that's an issue
For sure.
So let's break that fucking bondage right now.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
'cause,
like,
I definitely see it. Even like I said, just even going to like a 5 o'clock networking meeting, it's like, what do you mean you're going? I'm like, well, gotta go. I gotta keep going.
one of the best things I can tell you to do is this: like, give her, like he said, be vulnerable about why you're going. Like, what are your expectations and what is your intent around like what you're going to get from this event? And you should be doing that anyway, even with networking events. It's like, I'm going to go sit at a table with 12 dudes around dinner, right? And the intended outcome I would like to see is X. And so I'm going to set a frame that allows me the best possible chance of getting to X. And if that is like connecting with 3 dudes and hearing their story, if it's setting up another meeting to whiteboard with 3 of the 12 to add value to their life and not ask for anything in return, like you need to have a desired intent and outcome to any meeting you ever go to, period. And so I think if you would explain that to her, and then that outcome was very much about so as a team, like how is this going to benefit us as a family unit, or as me as a father, therefore you, right, by proximity, et cetera. So like, I think if you really paint the picture of the win that is possible, if she gives you 2.5 days of space and grace, I think you'll get, a favorable, go get them.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
If some guys were trying to connect with Nick Alfano or the program, how do they connect?
It's timewithnick.net is my calendar. You can jump on there whenever you want. Like, if you ever mention like anybody from Greenville, if you mention one of my clients, like I'll give you an hour of my time for free, and we will just like uncover some crazy shit. I mean, Sweet can tell you how powerful the whiteboard sessions are. That's probably what I'm known for. But realistically, if you mention anybody that I'm currently working with, I'll give you some time. I never ask for anything back. Reprogram.ai, that's got the event info like for Cancun. You can fill out a quick app. But yeah, I mean, anybody listening to this can just jump on my calendar. Like,
Sweet.
That easy. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah,
Thank you for
appreciate
coming
you
out.
guys.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I love
so
what you're
much.
building. I really encourage you guys to keep doing this.
I think this was
Yeah.
great one for really getting into it. I think this was awesome. So
I think we probably could have went all day.
It's a wrap.